very latest from here at home and across the world. This is Primetime News, live here on News First. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Nadim Majid. Let's start off with a look at the news making headlines tonight. The President says the government is prepared to fulfill all needs of the people of the North and East except bringing back lives lost owing to terrorism. The US says an international mechanism will have to be looked at if Sri Lanka does not investigate alleged human rights violations. In India, fissures in Karunanidhi's DMK party. Also in local news, the Department of Archaeology says incidents of illegal archaeological excavations have increased in the north and east. And in sports news, Thilanga Sumathipala's nomination for the post of President of Sri Lanka Cricket rejected.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that the government is prepared to fulfill the wants and needs of all people in the north and east except bringing back lives lost to terrorism. The president made this statement at a function held in Ampara today.
The head of state presented bronze beaver deeds at the Hardy Higher Technology Institute Auditorium in Ampara, concurrent to the Datikirula exhibition. Accordingly, people in the north and east of the island were presented with deeds for 1,000 plots of land.
මේ රට තුල සිංහල දෙමළ මුස්ලිම් ජනතාව ජීවත්.
Sinhalese, Tamils and Muslims live in our country and they have a right to this land on which they were born. Our priority is to develop this country and provide you with a heritage. We don't expect any one of you to be boarders in your home soil. We are taking steps to grant rights to the lands that were lost. We are obliged to provide you with everything except the lives that were lost in the war and the tsunami.
තමුන්නාන්සේලාට අහිමුණු ජීවිත හැර සුනාමියෙන් යුද්ධයෙන් අපි අනිත් සියලු දේ ලබා දීමට බැඳිලා ඉන්නවා.
On to more headline news, the Department of Archaeology says that incidents of illegal excavations in search of ancient artifacts have increased in the north and east. The department revealed that the most number of incidents of theft and destruction of ancient artifacts were reported last year. The Department of Archaeology notes that over the past 6 months, 75 incidents of illegal excavations in search of ancient artifacts and the destruction of ancient artifacts were reported. 178 suspects have been arrested in connection with these incidents. 10 suspects were arrested in the most recent incident reported in Tissamaharama yesterday. The police said that they had apprehended the suspects in a jungle area of Beralihala last night based on a tip-off. The police also seized equipment that was in the possession of the suspects.
දල වශයෙන් අපිට පහුගිය ඉක්ුත් කාලය තුල පුරා සිද්ධි 2000කට ආසන්න ප්‍රමාණයක් වාර්තා වෙනවා.
We have received reports of close to 2,000 incidents over the recent past, but the majority of these incidents are reported from extremely remote areas where there are no human settlements. If you consider incidents by locale, then most number of reports of destruction of artifacts have been reported from the north central, northwestern and Uva provinces. At first there were an insignificant number of reports of incidents in the north and east, but an increase in incidents was reported from these provinces last year.
සැලකිය යුතු ප්‍රමාණයක් වාර්තා වුණේ නැහැ. නමුත් මේ වන විට එම පළාත් පළාත් යම්කිසි වැඩිමක් ඉක්ුත් වර්ෂයේදී වාර්තා වුණා.
Over the recent past, News First reported on several such incidents of the thefts of ancient artifacts. On the 2nd of February, treasure thieves damaged the Naipena Vihara in Polonnaruwa for a third time. 3 treasure hunters were arrested while searching for artifacts near the Maradanmudua reservoir in Yakavawa, Madawachia on the 7th of March. 2 treasure hunters were arrested while searching for artifacts near the Kadrukote Rajamahaviharya in Madurankulya, Puttalam last Saturday. Also on Saturday, 4 people were arrested for engaging in illegal excavations on a plot of land in Polonnaruwa which was of archaeological significance.
දැන් පවත්න ආඥාපනත එහි යම් අඩලුණුකම් තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා මේ
There are certain shortcomings in the prevailing ordinance that we have. This needs to be addressed and the ordinance must be amended, making the punishments more progressive. We are aware that in the event that these laws are violated, 100% of those who violate the law are not brought before court.
එමෙතන නීතිය හමුවට යන පිරිස ගොඩක් වෙලාවට 100%ක් අධිකරණ ය ඉදිරියට එමෙ නැත්නම් නීතිය හමුවට යන අවස්ථා අඩුයි.
In more local news, Indian media reports that signs of fissures have begun to appear in M. Karunanidhi's DMK party, which is considered to be a force to reckon with in Tamil Nadu. The Hindu newspaper reports that a dispute has arisen on who will take over leadership of the party after M. Karunanidhi.
According to Indian media reports, the dispute for the leadership of the DMK has arisen between M. Alagiri and his brother M. Stalin, who are the sons of M. Karunanidhi. Recently, Karunanidhi had indicated that his younger son M. Stalin would take over leadership of the DMK party. In retaliation, Alagiri had stated that the DMK is not a party which allows a senior political leader to anoint his successor. The Hindu newspaper also reported that Alagiri did not attend a DMK executive committee meeting. Meanwhile, according to a report on the Times of India newspaper, speaking at the DMK Executive Committee meeting, DMK General Secretary K. Anbalahan had said that the DMK is not ready to topple the government. The report further states that an Executive Committee member who attended the meeting has said that they cannot allow communal forces to form a government. The Times of India reports that the meeting was attended by top-level DMK leaders including DMK Chief M. Karunanidhi, his son and party treasurer M.K. Stalin, and daughter Kanimoli, who is a Rajya Sabha MP. The report further notes that Karunanidhi did not speak during the meeting due to a throat infection. 16 resolutions were passed during the meeting. In one resolution, the party reiterated its call for India to move a strong resolution against Sri Lanka in Geneva. It also calls on the cancellation of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Colombo, failing which India should boycott the session. Meanwhile, members of the Indian Congress Party walked out of the Tamil Nadu State Assembly today. According to South Indian-based Sun TV, the members of the Congress Party had staged the walkout in protest against the burning of effigies depicting Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and other Congress leaders during a protest in Puducherry against Sri Lanka. They had also expressed their protest against assaults carried out on an office of the central government and an ashram.
Meanwhile, Robert Blake, the US Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs, has said that there is skepticism as to whether the Sri Lankan government will initiate its own investigations into allegations of human rights violations. In a telephone interview with the BBC World Service, Blake said that if Sri Lanka is unwilling or unable to hold its own credible, independent investigation, then the international community will be forced to look at international mechanisms.
The resolution does express support for an independent and credible investigation. We very much hope that Sri Lanka will undertake meaningful action. But of course, we've always said that if Sri Lanka is either unwilling or unable to do so, that the international community will be forced to look at international mechanisms. The stakes were raised when the government and the military specifically put out a report that has not actually yet been released, but they referred publicly to the fact that an internal military investigation has absolved the military of all responsibility for civilian casualties. So we are obviously disappointed with such a conclusion, and so again, I think that that statement by the Sri Lankan military raises the skepticism of many that the government is prepared to do its own investigations.
It's time now for the newspaper cartoon of the day.
The Erdeland's horned lizard and Karoo's horned lizard are two reptilian species that can only be found in small concentrated populations in low-temperature areas which have a dense forest cover. These two unassuming reptiles are constantly at risk given that even minor environmental changes to their habitat could result in their extinction.
Well, these two species of horned lizard are endemic to the Morningside Reserve of the Singharaja rainforest in Sri Lanka. Their existence is now in grave danger. News First Amila Balasurya reports.
The News First crew, who were aboard a lorry transporting tea leaves, entered the Morningside Reserve of the Singharaja rainforest after travelling through rough terrain from Suryakanda in Ratnapura. However, upon entering the Morningside Reserve, we could not find the much talked about horned lizards or even a forest containing other fauna.
මේ වසර කිහිපයකට පෙර වගා කළ තේ වගාවක්.
What you can see here are tea bushes planted several years ago. Over here we have tree saplings planted several months ago. But this is not a tea estate. This is how the Morningside Reserve is being cleared to make way for tea plantations. Only one person came forward to express views on the cultivation of tea in the Morningside Reserve. Tea is being cultivated around here. There is no point in telling anyone about this. In the end, what will happen is that we will not have any water here. These lands were to be taken over for the Singharaja forest, but this never happened. There were even cabinet papers to this effect. Now the temperature here has also dropped, thereby changing the climate. It used to be like Nuwara, but now it is warm. Our cameras also captured footage of cinnamon trees which had been planted among the tea bushes. Permanent and temporary constructions undertaken by planters are also a common sight in Morningside. Urgent action is needed to protect this reserve, which is part of the Singharaja rainforest, a UNESCO heritage site.
A timber racket at the Somawati National Park. Wildlife officers charge that political pressure is exerted on raids conducted. If that is the case, is everyone procrastinating until valuable resources are destroyed?
In business news tonight, a decision has been made to remove the public market in Nugegoda and replace it with a supermarket complex. Now it is estimated that the investment project undertaken by a foreign corporation will cost $250 million.
The agreement for the construction of the supermarket complex proposed by the Sri Javadhanapura Kotte Municipal Council and the Urban Development Authority was signed today. The 36-story supermarket complex will also comprise of modern facilities, including a cinema complex and swimming pools. All shop owners will receive stores with similar areas to their present shops. These people will be relocated to either the Rajagiri supermarket or other areas in Nugegoda until construction is completed. At present, the Kotte Municipal Council can only sign lease agreements with trade associations or the community for 5-year periods. However, following this investment, there will be an opportunity to sign long-term lease agreements.
Shops were closed across several towns in the eastern province today. Shops had been closed in many towns in the Ampara district, including Ampara, Marudumune, Kalmune, Saint Marutu, Ninthabur, Adalatchene, Akrepattu and Pottuvel. Meanwhile, shops were also closed in several areas in the Batticaloa district.
In news from the courts, a fundamental rights petition filed by UNP parliamentarian Sujiva Senasinghe, claiming that the government had incurred massive losses through the purchase of Greek sovereign bonds, was taken up again at the Supreme Court today. The hearing was presided over by a bench comprising of Chief Justice Mohan Piris and Justices Nimal Gamani Amaratunga and Satya Hettige.
Representing MP Sujiva Senasinghe in court today, Attorney at Law Upul Jayasuriya said that it is inappropriate for the Chief Justice to be a member of the bench. He requested that the Chief Justice remove himself from the bench as he had acted as a legal advisor to the Central Bank prior to this. Jayasuriya also submitted the Central Bank's annual report for 2008 to the court in order to substantiate his claim. At this instance, the Chief Justice informed court that if the petitioner is not in favour of him being on the bench, then a bench sans the Chief Justice would be appointed to preside. The Chief Justice ordered that the petition be taken up once again on the 5th of May. As lawyers and MPs, it is our responsibility to seek legal redress when the wealth of the public is being wasted in this manner. We have faith in the courts, so it is our responsibility to come to the courts and make submissions. About 3.5 billion of the Sri Lankan people's money has been lost. We honestly believe that in the case of the purchase of Greek bonds, where the people have been burdened by the ad hoc use of public funds, there has been an evasion of the constitutional right of the government to ensure the welfare of the people.